kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. Never been. It's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me.
Welcome everybody into the Racers Elite Xfinity Series. They are at the Tricky Triangle. No turn number 4 here. Last week though, they were at the Chicago Street Course where Austin Smith put on a clinic leading all but 3 laps. Led 36 of the 40 laps. Ronnie Norman finished second leading 3, and Ian Campbell battled back to finish inside that top 3 there. So that is where that winds up. We're going to take a look quickly here as they're getting ready for the qualifying run here. Austin John Smith up there on the top of the board. 1 point advantage over Andrew Teff, Kyle Cooper. 3 back, Ronnie Norman. 7 back, Alex Teff. 11 back, Corey Kroll. 27 back, Kinsley Smith, Matthew Jarrett, Ian Campbell, and Todd Slauson round out that top 10. That top 10 is important as it is the chase that they are trying to get to. We got a couple races left here in the Xfinity series before they start them all over again. But as usual, I am Mike Money up in the booth with Alan. Alan, man, how is it going?
Well, happy Wednesday to you, Mike. It's going great. We're here at the Tricky Triangle. What turn 3? Or what turn 4, rather? Man, Pocono, the Pocono Mountains, or the hills. You know what else is produced in Pennsylvania? Hershey chocolate.
Yeah, definitely. These guys are out on track. Let's see who's up for this triangle. We kind of saw them riding around here a little bit in practice, and it seemed like turn 2 was one of the more tricky ones. We saw a couple guys get loose and drifted around the corner. So we'll see how these guys manage to get around the track. It is one of the more difficult tracks to get around because the corners are so sharp compared to, a regular racetrack.
Absolutely. This place is going to be tricky. It's going to be a handful. What these guys are going to be lacking on one end, they're not going to have on the other end.
It looks like Lee Campbell's first one to complete a qualifying lap. He's up there with 54.30. Dennis Kane in that number 4 Ford with a 54.59. Ira Kohlhaas, haven't heard his name in a little while here. 54.63. Truth Hoke, 54.72. As John Shanebackler comes through with his first lap of 54.47.
And these guys, whenever they get ready to race, they're going to be, when they come down that front straightaway, they're going to be almost 4 or 5 wide, and then you're going to see them bundle down to turn number 1 and go head towards the tunnel turn as Shane Backler just put it right into the wall here qualifying.
Like I said, that turn number 2 is a little tricky there. Kinsley Smith finished his first lap at the 54.40. Austin Smith also rolled through a 54.52.
I think Austin Smith is looking for another statement win, like he had last night or last week at the Chicago Street Course.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Talking to him earlier, it is not one of his favorite places to race at. So we'll see how he can handle this tricky triangle. It's one of the places where you want to be just on the edge of out of control, because that's where you're going to have the most speed. But if you do, in fact, lose a little bit of grip, you're going to lose a ton of speed, especially coming off of turn 2 and 3 there.
Poffenberger's 8th quick right now, and he's so far his best lap is a 54.5.
Yeah, Ronnie Norman ran pretty well last week, got a 54.15 on his first time by. Matthew Jarrett up there with the 54.22, so these guys are definitely finding some speed here. I think Ronnie Norman is going to be one of the guys to watch. He seems to be pretty quick at most of these tracks here.
And the good thing too, Mike, is if you get into trouble early, you're not going to bury yourself at this racetrack because you got time that you can make up what you lose on your pit stops or a penalty, or you're not going to bury yourself that quick here. So with respect to that, I think we're in for a real treat, as this race has produced a few first-time winners, like the names of Joey Logano. He was a first-time winner here, and a couple others.
Like we got a couple other guys out on track. Looks like the first lap seems to be the faster of the two. Todd Slauson with the 54.62. Like Andrew Teff just came across the line. That 98.4. Let's see what he went. He went a 54.68. See who else is out on track. Looks like Kyle Cooper is also out there in the 73 machine.
Yeah, it's real easy. This track is pretty flat, Mike. So it's real easy to get out of shape going into turn 1, and it's real easy to overdrive turn 3. So the question is, do you shift or do you not shift? And that's the question. That's what these guys are going to be struggling with all race long. As you see the 73 car, Kyle Cooper, get into the wall, and now we're riding with Diego Rodriguez on his opening lap here.
You can just hear those tires squealing.
Yeah, this track will chew up these tires. I mean, we're, like I said, we're going to be in for a treat here. And this track, this turn right here, turn 3, as we're riding with Diego Rodriguez, is he? You see him come off the corner a little bit higher, and he started up the wall. You really don't want to start chasing the car up the racetrack, because we're watching Brandon Sanfilippo right now, and I think he might call it one and done.
Braxton Barrett jumped up there with the 54.40. Alex Teff first lap of 54.46. And you know, I know we keep kind of talking about how turn 2 seems to be where they keep losing it a little bit more. It's modeled after the turns at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which we were just there, a few weeks ago. So they shouldn't quite have trouble with it, but it always seems like that is one that they do. I mean, it is a little bit flatter than, say, turn 1. Turn 1, you have that 14-degree bank, and it kind of helps you get a little more speed into the car, but turn 2 is, like I said, a little bit flatter, so maybe that's what the issue is, and they try and carry a little too much speed through there. But we'll see what happens as this race goes along. Alex Teff guiding it slowly across the finish line there after not liking his turn 3. Looks like we have Ryan Coker, Jeremy Carter, Dwayne McMahon, and Michael Brooks all sitting back towards the back, not making a spot yet. Daniel Honeycutt was able to finish his race last night. We'll see if he's going to improve any positions tonight. Right now, he's currently sitting P2 on the board here with the 54.20 on his first lap. Doesn't look like anybody else is going to get out as qualifying has come to a conclusion here. We're going to head and let these guys jump into their rides, and then we'll get them up here on track.
All right, Mike, we got 59 laps here in the Tricky Triangle.
Yeah, we got Ronnie Norman and Daniel Honeycutt starting in row 1. Row 2 is Matthew Jarrett and Kyle Cooper. Going back to Lee Campbell and Corey Kroll. Kinsley Smith and Braxton Barrett are in row 4. Row 5, Austin Smith with Truth Hoke just to his outside. Brandon Puffenbarger and Alex Teff make up row 6. Row 7, John Shane Backler and Todd Slauson. We got Joshua Neal and Brandon Honeycutt in row 8. Row 9 is Dennis Kane with Brandon Sanfilippo. Ira Kohlhaas breaks out in P19 with Andrew Teft driving that Fram Ford in P20. Ian Campbell and Diego Rodriguez make up row 11. Row 12 is the 21 of George Sprinkle and the 2 of Jarrett Larder. Aaron Marquise and Gordon Spain back there in 25th, 26th. Michael Brooks, Dwayne McMahon, Ryan Coker, and Jeremy Carter are going to bring out the field of 30 drivers. So they have a huge field tonight as these guys get ready to roll. Maybe. Like they're waiting on Jeremy to get into his car here. It looks like they're rolling out now.
Yeah, there we see Ronnie Norman running out or taking off there in the number 8 car. What about Daniel Honeycutt, man? He got the pole tonight.
Daniel Honeycutt was second. Ronnie Norman actually got the pole there, but he's on that front row. Yeah. I mean, he started on the front row last night too, so we'll see what he can do here. Getting ready through this short pace lap here. Looks like everybody's kind of spread out towards the back of the field. If they can get bunched back up here. Thomas is picking Brandon Puffenbarger to bring home the W.
I would say, I don't know, man. If Austin Smith drives like he did last week, they might be in trouble.
Yeah, pace car makes that left-hand turn, and we are ready to go here at Pocono in the Racers Elite Xfinity Series. Ronnie Norman, Daniel Honeycutt pushing out to the front. Looks like everybody's trying to bounce around, figure out where they want to be here coming into turn 1. Norman with the lead. Honeycutt goes way wide. Matthew Jarrett, Kyle Cooper were looking to try and take advantage there, but Honeycutt's able to maintain his position as Jarrett and Cooper are side by side for third place here.
Michael Smith was wishing me a good evening as you're riding with the number 80 car of I forget some of these guys' names.
Matthew Jarrett, Lee Campbell and Corey Kroll side by side here for 5th position. Kroll up 1 spot, slides in line. You got Brandon Puffenbarger pulling down to the inside. Gonna try and get that 5 ride up there. Looks like Kinsley Smith was bouncing all over the place there for a little bit.
And these guys are minding their P's and Q's right now.
Yeah, they definitely are trying to stay out of trouble. They know it's a long race. I mean, we're working through lap number 2 right now, and everybody's pretty much single file. I mean, even back towards the back, you got Brandon Honeycutt, Sam Filippo back there, Andrew Teft. Like, everybody's pretty well minding their P's and Q's, just trying to stay out of the way, let the race kind of come to them.
They're racing the racetrack. That's what they're doing. And you're watching Ronnie Norman. He's out to a half-second lead over Daniel Honeycutt, who does not have the target scheme on the Xfinity ride, unfortunately. So if you're hoping for Daniel Honeycutt's target scheme to make it on 2 of his cars, well, you have to watch us on Wednesday to see that scheme.
Yeah, Ronnie Norman out to over a half-second lead over Daniel Honeycutt. Kyle Cooper almost a second back there as well. Then you got Matthew Jarrett, Corey Kroll, Brandon Puffenbarger. Brandon Puffenbarger's up 5 spots already. And he's got that 5 machine rolling through here.
Yeah, right now Puffenbarger is having a good run as he's in the top 10. He's one of those guys that if he can put a full night together, I think he would have some success going into the chase. They got just under a handful of races to get there. So every race counts. Every point counts in the series right now.
Yeah, don't pay too much attention to the number on the tower there. He is driving the 5 machine, even though it says 25 up there. See how that all works out here as Corey Kroll is running up here. You can see just how close they get on the exit of turn 2. Puffenbarger goes to the inside of Kroll.
Yeah, so you're gonna want to make these passes going into the tunnel turn here. That's the fastest part of the racetrack. But you gotta be social. You gotta be aware of who's around you when you come off the tunnel turn, because they're gonna fly through there at a high rate of speed, and they're essentially gonna float the car up to the corner as they go down the long pond straightaway, as they call it.
You can just see those guys trying to get in line to make this corner as easy as possible. Head down the straightaway here. See if we can jump over and take a look at the exit here. You'll see Ronnie Norman flying by, but you can just see how close some of these guys are getting to that wall and why they start sliding down a little bit as Alex Teft almost gets in the wall. And here comes Austin Smith up a couple spots, battling Lee Campbell. Brandon Puffenbarger pulls down. There's couple lanes down inside of Smith there, trying to get a little more speed and get away from the 20 machine there.
Yeah, Mike, to your point, these guys, as you see Puffenbarger get a little squirmy there. These guys are still 7 laps in. They're still minding their P's and Q's. But, I mean, this track here has a tendency to produce long green flag runs, and some of these guys take the approach as if they're running a road course on this track. So especially these guys, some of these guys run practice lap after practice lap after practice lap after practice lap to figure this track out, and then they still don't even really figure it out to the part where they're like super fast on it.
Yeah, it's just like in NASCAR back in the 90s when they could adjust the gear ratio and make it where you didn't have to shift quite so much. And then I think it was back in 2005-ish, late 2000s, when they changed that rule and basically had it set so you only could So you had to shift now.
Poffenberger finally completes the pass on Corey Krell going into turn 3. But he's got a handful of Kinsley Smith all over him, or sorry, Campbell all over him. 14 car. Kinsley Smith in the 15 car.
Yeah, you got Austin Smith trying to make the pass. Lee Campbell trying to get up there as well. Kroll stuck up almost into the wall there as Austin Smith is staying about a lane and a half down. Gonna go back here.
Austin Smith was going to make that move on the inside there of Krell. And he can't quite make the pass.
Now, Corey's been hanging tough there on that high side. Looks like Lee Campbell might be trying to force it a little 3 wide here. If he can get a little bit better run coming off the corner, he was going to force it 3 wide as Truth Hoke bangs into the outside wall coming out of turn 3. And it looks like you can see 3 or 4 guys doing the same thing. I think that might be... That's a little back there a little bit further. Looks like that was Diego Red. No, behind Diego. So George Sprinkle got the wall pretty hard coming out of turn number 3 there in that 21 Chevy. Got Brandon Sanfilippo with Joshua Neal down on his inside. Andrew Teff behind Neal. They try and roll through here. And in front of that, it looks like we got a 3-way battle. Truth Hope, Braxton Barrett, and Kinsley Smith all working 3 wide here coming out of turn 3. Kinsley Smith kind of forces Braxton Barrett down, and that's going to allow Truth Hope to get past both of them as their battling continues down the front stretch.
And that's that 3 wide that I was talking about at the top of the show, Mike. Is these guys, when they come down that front straightaway, they gotta be, you could almost be 4 wide almost. These guys have been 3 wide for almost a whole lap now.
Yeah, they were battling all over the track there, and they were able to stay off of each other. Everybody ran their lines, and I mean, that was a heck of a show by the drivers here back in about mid-pack. Try and go back and see what else is going on here. Todd Slauson is getting by Alex Teft. We got Brandon Sanfilippo and Andrew Teft battling here. I think Teft got a little loose there, chased it down the track. Diego Rodriguez slid out a little ways there, but able to keep the car underneath him there as well. Ira Kohlhaas returns here in that 29 Chevy.
Ira Kohlhaas looking pretty sporty there, even though he's a little deeper in the field than he'd like to be, but I think he's looking pretty sporty there. I mean, he's running P23, but he might be laying back a little bit. He might be playing that strategy game because he knows it's a long race, even though it's only 60 laps essentially.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, it's 60 laps, but it is a pretty big track. I mean, you're talking 2.5 miles here as they race the Triangle Oval.
Dennis Kane there. I like the paint scheme on Dennis Kane's number 4. Kingsford Barbecue. Ford Mustang of Dennis Kane. Grilling season's coming up soon. I mean, it's only January, but it's never too early to start thinking about your barbecue grill.
Yeah, it's definitely always time to barbecue. Looks like Kinsley Smith and Todd Slauson going side by side here. You guys are putting on a heck of a show. We're going 3 wide around most of the track, bouncing around each other. Everybody's been staying off, and they've been able to make it through 2 or 3 corners completely side by side. Looks like Andrew Teft and Shane Backler are going back and forth once again.
Yeah, Mike, to your point, I've seen something out of Truth Hope that you haven't seen in a while. Is Andrew Teft's going to get the wall there with the 98 Ram Ford Mustang, and we're going to stay clean and green. But Truth Hope keeps methodically picking cars off as he's battling for 11th place right now with Kinsley Smith in that Reese's Peanut Butter Monitor Chevrolet Camaro. He's kind of being a strategist today, because he's got time to think about his moves, really, if you want to look at it in that respect.
Everybody's still kind of just hanging out 2 by 2 for the most part up here towards the front. Ronnie Norman is out to over a half-second lead. Daniel Honeycutt still hanging pretty tough. They both have almost a 4-second lead back to Kyle Cooper. And these next 5 cars are within a few seconds of each other, but they got to find something, or hope Ronnie Norman or Daniel Honeycutt trip somewhere as they're wrecking back in the back. It's like Andrew Teft is going all sorts of directions there.
That's a tough break for Andrew Teft. Seems like he can't catch a break there lately.
Let's see what happened. We're going to have a little Teft on Teft crime. Oh, no, Andrew just goes up and runs the 27 of Brandon Sanfilippo right in the wall and winds up sideways there. He's smoking all 4 tires.
Is Brandon Sanfilippo going to stop at any point?
Maybe when they're welded together here. We'll see. Helps them get turned right around. But yeah, that looked like it was just Andrew Teft coming up just a little bit. Let's see if we can go to the nose of the ride here. Get back to full speed. We'll slow it down here as he comes to turn exit. Probably not going to see too much until it's a little too late, but you can see him sliding up the track. I don't know if he thought he was clear.
I don't think the spotter would have cleared him, but iRacing spotters clear anything. They would clear the sunshine if they could.
Here's on board with Sanfilippo. Looks like a little bump. He goes up into the wall, and looks like Teft is still coming up just a little bit. Marco Andretti. I never saw that on Andrew Teft's ride. So that is definitely not something that Ronnie Norman or Daniel Honeycutt wanted to see. We're going to see full sail pit stops here as they're coming down pit lane.
It looks like the whole field's going to come down and pit.
I think we're getting pretty close to green flag pit stops anyway. They usually try and make it where they have to have at least a couple pit stops. So, I mean, basically you go to 20, you're pretty much splitting it right in 3s. So everybody minding their P's and Q's coming through pit lane there.
I don't think anybody stayed out on this one.
No, it doesn't look like
empty.
it.
and looks like Daniel Honeycutt's going to win the race off of pit road.
Yeah, Daniel Honeycutt looks like he does make it out first. About almost. Wow. The pit lane time for Daniel Honeycutt was 53.58 to Ronnie Norman's 54.98. So if it was green flag pit stops, that'd be dynamite for Daniel Honeycutt, but Daniel Honeycutt gets to restart the race here as he's trying to get a little heat into those tires.
Yeah, this track on cold tires is not fun to race on, but when you get the heat in those tires, then it becomes a blast.
I think
I would go ahead.
I was gonna say I think everybody would like a little bit of trivia right now. So who holds the most wins here in the NASCAR Cup Series?
Oh boy, who holds the most wins? I want to say, man, I want to say it's either going to be Petty, Earnhardt, or Gordon. And I want to say,
How about none of those three?
oh, okay. You got me on that one.
It's Denny Hamlin. He's got 7.
Oh no. And 7 came over last season.
Yep.
When he okay, I am team Kyle Larson on that one.
Yeah.
He overdrove the racetrack. Bad.
Oh, he definitely did.
He could say that he didn't all he want, or he didn't mean to, but he did. He definitely put Kyle Larson in the wall. And I think that move right there would have been Kyle Larson's second championship had he not been put in the wall at here at Pocono.
When they get stacked back up here, ready to roll. Going to be 20 to go when we get the green flag this time by. Pace car's going to make that hard left-hand turn down pit lane. Daniel Honeycutt with the button. Ronnie Norman to his outside. Honeycutt gets out and away. Looks like he's got a pretty decent advantage. We'll see if he's going to slide up in front of Norman, try and take advantage here as Kyle Cooper is working his way past Norman going into turn 1. So Ronnie Norman goes from first to third after the pit stops on those caution laps. Brandon Puffenbarger up 7 spots, running P4 now, and has a bunch of speed in that 5 ride there.
Here they come down Long Pond straightaway. They're fanned out 2 and 3 wide. And Mike, I'm kind of would expect these guys to be fanned out. Ooh, you got 80 put in the wall. Mr. Jarrett, stay clean and green, buddy. And I would expect these guys to fan out going down the straightaway on the start, because that's where you're going to pick up your most positions. Yep. On this front straightaway, this massive front straightaway.
Yeah, I see Joshua Neal go 4 lanes down, trying to get away from everybody and pass them as fast as he can before they slide back into line. Braxton Barrett was down below the yellow line trying to get some positions here on Todd Slauson and Kinsley Smith. It looks like Puffenbarger's pulling out, going to try Ronnie Norman down on the inside, but doesn't quite have enough speed to make it down the backstretch here.
Yeah, normally as a rule in this racetrack, if you can't complete the pass, don't try it, because it's going to be bad news for you at the end of the day.
Yeah, so with the field reset and everybody kind of coming through, as you can see, almost everybody in the middle of the field hit that outside wall coming off of turn 3. These guys have all started to straighten out. You can kind of see that Puffenbarger has some speed, and he's able to hang with these front 4. Ronnie Norman, Daniel Honeycutt are not able to drive away like they were doing earlier in the run. They've got Kyle Cooper stuck between them.
Yeah, these guys are not earning their Darlington stripes, but they're earning their Pocono stripe, as numerous drivers have scraped the outside retaining wall. But I want to give a shout out to Daniel Honeycutt. He had a good run last night. He's leading this thing today. As you got Cooper there on the battling them hard. They're minding their P's and Q's. He's not making an overly aggressive move. I mean, we're coming up to almost halfway, and we've only had one caution period, one safety car. And I got to give props to these guys. I mean, we're seeing a lot of guys in the top 10 that we normally don't get to see racing out there in the top 10.
And there's starting to be a little bit of gap between Puffenbarger and Austin Smith, as Smith slowly is trying to close that gap down just a little bit. Matthew Jarrett trying to hang tough up here as well. They got about a 0.3 of a second lead, almost 4 to Lee Campbell. Braxton Barrett's back there about 0.3 off of Campbell. Slauson is over a second back, so we got back to almost our 2-pack style racing here as they get to 24 laps completed here.
Yeah, these guys are just, I can't tell you enough how good these guys are in all 3 of these series. I mean, you go to the truck series, it's hard to win in the truck. You come here to the Xfinity series, it's hard to win here. And then you go to the next gen cars, it's even tougher to win there. So, I mean, Daniel Honeycutt, I mean, right now, this is his race to lose, as we're just under halfway. I think we got maybe a couple more laps till we get to halfway. But that just goes to show you that the level of talent in this field tonight.
Yeah, I was kind of joking with the guys pre-race here about how whoever set up the schedule must love Pocono. I mean, because we weren't at Pocono last night, but we're going to be there next week on Tuesday as well. So we got 3 races in the Racers Elite League where they're at Pocono 3 races in a row. So we're here at Pocono, then we go to Next Gen at Pocono, then we come back to the trucks at Pocono. So these guys will definitely have lots of experience making it around this tricky triangle by the time the week's over.
Yeah, and this is a fun racetrack. And if you like what you're seeing tonight with the Xfinity cars, check these guys out tomorrow with the next gen cars. And if you like them with the next gen cars, come back Tuesday night and check them out with the truck series. So these guys will not disappoint you.
Well, these guys are definitely trying to put on a show. It looks like Honeycutt's slowly starting to pull away from Kyle Cooper. I think Ronnie Norman is almost seems like he's getting a little tired of Cooper being there. It looks like he seems to know that 8 Budweiser Chevy has a little bit more speed in it than he's letting on at the moment.
Yeah, I think he's trying to pay homage to Dale Jr. in one of his wins here at Pocono. So he's trying to get that Budweiser number 8 to the front. And Dan or Mike, you know, I actually live in the home of Budweiser. of St. Louis, Missouri. So if you ever get the chance to come out to St. Louis, go check out the AB Brewery. It will not disappoint you.
Might have to do that if I ever get that direction. Right now, Todd Slauson in the 88 machine is going to try and get up there with his teammate, but he's got some work to do, and he's got Kinsley Smith down on his inside, going to make this pass. Corey Kroll inside the top 10, trying to roll through here as well. Brandon Honeycutt up 4 spots, running P12. These guys are all kind of battling back and forth. You'll see some guys get some runs, and then all of a sudden they start fading back once again, as you saw there with Kinsley Smith. Looked like he was going to be able to pass Slauson, and then all of a sudden just lost all momentum in that 15 machine.
Yeah, that's the comers and goers syndrome as these guys have. And I think we're just about the halfway if we're not there.
They're going to get 28 laps complete this time by. Braxton Barrett basically out here by himself. He's got about a second and a half behind him, and about a second and a half in front of him as well there as they're rolling through. Matthew Jarrett and Lee Campbell battling side by side. Like we got somebody cheering for San Filippo. Go back and take a look where Brandon is here. The 27 Chevy, he was running pretty good for a while. Got involved in our only caution of the night when Andrew Teff slid up a little bit, and you let him drive sideways through the front stretch there.
Yeah, he's got that little bit of damage there on the left rear of the car, as you see Jarrett, or the 3 car of, I guess it's Lauder go by on there. No, Lauder's in the 2 car, my bad. Don't fry me on Facebook, guys. Don't fry me on Facebook. I'm horrible with names.
Ira Kohaas and Diego Rodriguez going side by side, coming through turn 3. You can just see how much bouncing in and out they're doing as they're going down the racetrack. But with that being said, and since we're halfway, I think we're going to step aside here, let these guys run a couple laps. You won't miss anything as we go side by side. We'll be back momentarily. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Racers Elite Xfinity Series from Pocono Raceway. These guys have completed 33 laps, just over halfway here. Should be seeing pit stops, I'm going to say, within the next 5 to 10 laps, depending on how far they elect to push their ride. While we were away, we did see Ronnie Norman get by Daniel Honeycutt for the lead. Kyle Cooper had a little miscue there, lost a little bit of momentum, and is now back into P4. Austin Smith wound up taking advantage and is up 6 spots now, running P3. Brandon Puffenbarger running inside the top 5, up 6 spots as well. Lee Campbell, Matthew Jarrett, Corey Kroll, Braxton Barrett, and Todd Slauson make up that top 10. But these top few drivers are definitely starting to widen the gap back to the rest of the field.
Yeah, Mike, these guys are clean and green all night, and I'm loving it. I like the green flag runs that these guys are putting on. Not so much the caution fest that we're seeing a couple weeks ago with some of these tracks, but I mean, these guys are racing around each other like they're pros, and we've seen a car get really down to the inside there and losing wholesale positions.
You had Dwayne McMahon look like he had a heck of a run, pulled down as he was going to run over the back of like Dennis Kane there.
Yeah, that would have been a disaster if he would have got into Dennis Kane.
Still battling side by side.
And I know Ronnie Norman would love to score the first win of 2024 here in the Racers Elite Xfinity Series. That's a view I can never get old of, is them guys going down that long front straightaway into that first corner.
Yeah, it's definitely something to watch.
And it looked like there that Daniel Honeycutt was looking to the inside of Ronnie Norman for the lead. And this is a 3-horse battle right now between Norman, Honeycutt, and Austin Smith. And you said earlier this is not one of Austin Smith's best tracks. So I think he's just trying to... I think Austin Smith right now is pretty much in a get through it type mode and try to get out of here alive. And it looks like they're gonna come up to a lap car.
Yeah, it looks like Braxton Barrett elected to pull off and make his way down pit lane. So we'll see if these guys are going to stay out a couple more laps, try and get to that 20 to go mark and see what they can do, because we last put on lap 17 and we've been green ever since. Like everybody's staying out there so far. Looks like Gordon Sprinkle, Ryan Coker both entered pit lane. Lee Campbell makes that hard left-hand turn. And that is one of the things you kind of need to watch for when you're making your way to pit lane, is when you're coming out of turn 3, it's pretty much forcing you to the high side, almost to that outside wall, and you've got to get clear down to the inside pretty quickly there to make that pit lane entry there.
And then you got to hope no one's there when you do it. So it's like dodging 3 lanes of traffic on the interstate as you try to make, and then once you get down to once you cross over 4 lanes of traffic, then you got to get down to essentially 45 miles an hour to get down pit road, or 40, depending on the pit road speed. So you got to do 10 things before you even get to your pit box. And you got to do those 10 things right. If not, you're going to be behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, definitely looks like Daniel Honeycutt made his way in. Kyle Cooper, Kinsley Smith, Ira Kohlhaas, and Truth Hoke. And gonna say we're gonna see everybody else come in this time by.
I think we got 19 to go this time by. Either that or 20 to go. And we're under caution. Everybody on pit road right now did not want to see that one.
See what happened here.
Looks like it was the 21 car of
George Sprinkle gets into that outside wall, rolls around.
Here comes.
And then just stops on the racetrack.
Oh yeah, I think that he probably would have been far enough out of the way for them to not throw the caution, maybe? I don't know. I don't know whether it was a race control caution or an iRacing caution.
Yeah, it looked like he was sitting down on the inside for quite a little while before that caution flew, as he was rolling basically straight down the track. So he was still moving. It looked like he was probably still able to get rolling, but once he stopped, it looked like they threw out that caution, and that's going to shake it up just a little bit, as we'll have the top 19 drivers head down pit lane, which should cycle Lee Campbell. Looks like him to the front, with Braxton Barrett there as well, unless everybody comes down.
I think everybody, with the exception of the guys that were just on pit road. So I think you might be right where it will cycle Lee Campbell back to the front. Not back to the front, but to the front.
It looks like Lee Campbell came down pit lane as well, so.
Man. Well, in that case, it's going to cycle Daniel Honeycutt to the front.
Daniel Honeycutt, Kyle Cooper, Truth Hoke.
And 19 to go, and I mean, we're going to probably come back to green with maybe 16 to go, 17 to go.
Yeah, I'll probably have a couple laps left here, so see what happens when they get rolling in.
And Daniel Honeycutt, I feel like, has had to card the beat all night early. Truth Hoke up there just getting after it.
Yeah, Thomas was saying it was an iRacing caution, which kind of what I figured it was. Once he got stopped on the track, they threw that out, but
yeah, that's what we kind of figured. It was an iRacing caution.
it'll be 17 to go once they get stacked up here and get back to the green flag here.
I was close.
Yep. Yeah, so they'll get ready to go. Daniel Honeycutt looking to get a win this season.
It might come here at Pocono.
Kyle Cooper also looking to get a first win here. Coming through turn 2, headed down one more stretch before we get ready to let these guys go once again. Daniel Honeycutt, Kyle Cooper, row 1, row 2, Austin Smith and Ronnie Norman. Brandon Puffenbarger and Brandon Honeycutt in row 3. Matthew Jarrett, Ian Campbell, row 4. Andrew Teff and John Schoenbackler in row 5. Pace car makes that left-hand turn. Honeycutt with the button gets that Geico restart zone, and he is down and away. Austin Smith staying right with him, side by side with Kyle Cooper as they head down towards turn 1.
There they go. They're fanning out 2, 3, 4 wide with 17 to go. And Daniel Honeycutt is trying feverishly to get out ahead of these guys, but I just think that Austin Smith and Ronnie Norman are going to be too much as we got a car around.
Ian Campbell went sideways and came back up through the track. Let's see what else is happening back here.
Looks like Dennis Kane was involved
Dennis
in that
Kane
one.
involved in it again.
He had heavy front end damage.
Yeah, I just saw Ian Campbell get a little loose here.
Looks like he got sideways, got loose. And I think Ronnie, or not Ronnie.
Like he just was trying to lock it up.
I think he was trying to lock it down, and then I think Dennis Kane comes in there right about now to get a piece of it. That was a hard hit. And you got to wonder if Ian Campbell or these guys are running any, like,
We got to slow that down.
high force feedback on their wheel. Because if they are, then they almost have to let go of the wheel. That way, because some of these guys, they run high force feedback on their wheels, and they will almost break your hand if you're not careful. And it looks like Dennis Kane will not be having any will not be inviting Ian Campbell to any barbecues this summer.
Gonna be rough here as they get going once again. Daniel Honeycutt definitely did not want to see that as he was trying to get out to the lead he had built up. Probably get the green. 13 to go. Maybe 14 depending on when they get going.
I'm going to say 14.
Lights are still on, so we're going to let them roll here. We got a couple drivers looking for their first wins in the Xfinity Series, and you have Austin Smith and Ronnie Norman behind them looking to do the three-peat. Daniel Honeycutt definitely needs that win for championship or chase opportunities here. So 15 to go.
I think you were right. I think we're going to come back with 13 to go. Nonetheless, 13 laps to go on this track is like 20 at a mile and a half.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a long time for Daniel Honeycutt, regardless of if there was only 3 laps to go, because he's going to be driving mostly, I'm going to say, out of his rearview mirror with, you know, Ronnie Norman, Austin Smith, Brandon Puffenbarger all behind him. Matthew Jarrett, too. Matthew Jarrett's been racing pretty well. Brandon Honeycutt hanging out there as well. The lights are out on the pace car, so we'll be taking the green with 13 laps to go.
Oh, I thought he was turning the car off.
We can take a look that way. It almost looks like he is.
There he goes.
Let's jump back to Austin Smith. In about 3,000. He goes up to 5 and basically
He's going to coast a little bit and then turn it back on. There he goes. That's crazy, the things you do under caution. Nonetheless, Ronnie Norman, he's going to look to pounce all over Daniel Honeycutt coming out of that restart zone, and Michael Smith, he's looking for a whole shot too on Kyle Cooper. So this restart, this is going to be the restart that I feel like is going to make or break your race for you.
Yeah, these guys are definitely getting set up, ready to roll. Is Daniel Honeycutt. Honeycutt has the button. Pace car is going to make that hard left-hand turn down pit lane. Honeycutt waits almost till the end. Kyle Cooper times it almost perfectly as they go side by side through the start-finish line. Kyle Cooper has the advantage in that outside lane, but Honeycutt's going to battle back down on the low side as we come through turn 1.
It's a drag race down to turn number 1 as Kyle Cooper give the advantage to Kyle Cooper over Daniel Honeycutt. Here comes Ronnie Norman bringing up 3rd position.
That was a heck of a restart there by Kyle Cooper. He timed it perfectly, was right to the outside of Daniel Honeycutt, and was able to take advantage coming into turn 1. And now he is out to almost a quarter of a second lead. Daniel Honeycutt is going to have to play offense now instead of defense to go up and get Kyle Cooper. We do have 12 laps to go when they get by the line this time. As you see everybody bouncing around off of the wall there. Dwayne McMahon goes 4-5 lanes down the track trying to gather that car in before they head down into turn 1.
Yeah, if you're Kyle Cooper, I wouldn't worry about Daniel Honeycutt so much, but I would worry about Ronnie Norman and Austin Smith. But I want to highlight Brandon Poffenberger's had a great run tonight here in Pocono. And a few of these drivers said they actually look forward to this race tonight. And it's showing a lot of these guys had great enthusiasm for it. As you're looking at Brandon Poffenberger, and he's all over the rear bumper of Ronnie Norman coming down that front straightaway. And these guys, I just wonder if they have anything for Kyle Cooper right now, because he's almost out to have second lead.
Yeah, Kyle Cooper got that jump, and he has just been able to maintain his pace here. You know, I said Daniel Honeycutt's going to be driving basically through his rearview mirror. I think Kyle Cooper just decided he was going to drive out the windshield and run his race as he got a huge jump. Honeycutt is closing in, but you can catch a driver. It's definitely one thing, but trying to pass him is going to be something completely different.
Yeah, I think that was a restart that they're going to be talking about for a while, as Daniel Honeycutt is showing Kyle Cooper the door or a fender there, and Kyle Cooper is making that car 3 lanes wide, and Daniel Honeycutt is there. Is he gonna make the move on him coming out of the turn 2? I think Daniel Honeycutt's just buying his time right now, Mike, with 10 to go.
And Daniel Honeycutt can close in pretty quickly here on that 73 Ford of Kyle Cooper.
Yeah, Mike, Daniel Honeycutt is catching Cooper coming at turn 1, but on the back half of the racetrack, Kyle Cooper is pulling Daniel Honeycutt.
And then we got a battle back here between Austin Smith and Matthew Jarrett and Brandon Puffenbarger. They're all looked up pretty closely there.
And Ronnie Norman is stuck between Puffenbarger and Honeycutt right now, and he's trying everything he can to get back up there. And there on that last lap, it looked like Honeycutt lost a little bit of ground to Kyle Cooper, but he's made it all back up coming through the tunnel turn.
You can see the last couple laps have been back and forth with Cooper and Honeycutt. Honeycutt's there to his inside. Got right to that left rear quarter, and Kyle Cooper drives away once again. But
yeah,
Honeycutt,
right now, Honeycutt's just thinking what he's got to do to get by him. What does he need? Here comes the move inside. Man, he's just right there at his door, Mike.
yeah, but what just happened is he got that run, tried to go down to the inside. Ronnie Norman saw it and just floored it, trying to stay right to Honeycutt's outside, and was able to get to his outside for a while until they came back around turn 2, and Norman lost a little bit of position there. Honeycutt has got to be careful when he's trying to battle Cooper for the lead, or he will wind up going backwards real quick in a hurry.
Yeah, it's like Honeycutt can get to Cooper's door, but then he runs out of steam. What Honeycutt really needs, I feel like, is a partner to go down there with him. Maybe he can try to convince someone to go with him, as Honeycutt is almost to the corner panel. Is he going to make the move? Not yet. He's going to fall back in the line.
Well, it's like we were talking about earlier. If you're not going to be able to make that pass, it's almost not worth trying to make the pass, because you'll lose so much time as Honeycutt drives it in deep and is done. He is tired of being behind Cooper, makes that move, and goes to the lead.
Yeah, he just made a power move as Kyle Cooper is trying to cross him over, but couldn't make it work. But nonetheless, here comes Austin Smith on the inside. He's going to try a 2-for-1 special here coming down to turn number 1.
Yeah, Ronnie Norman went to go to the inside of Kyle Cooper after seeing what Daniel Honeycutt did, and Cooper shut him off, and Austin Smith was right there on his inside, and they are going to work together down on the inside as Puffenbarger and Austin Smith.
Austin Smith still running P4. Austin Smith has got to figure out something to do here with 5 laps, coming up on 5 laps to go. But right now it's Daniel Honeycutt as he made the power move. Here comes Ronnie Norman making a power move on Kyle Cooper for P2. Does he have enough to catch Daniel Honeycutt? And right now, Mike, Daniel Honeycutt is running for his life going down the front straightaway as Austin Smith is drafting Ronnie Cooper to try to make a move.
Yeah, Austin Smith was all over that back bumper of Kyle Cooper, trying to get a run, trying to force him past Ronnie Norman. Figures if he can get Cooper in front of Norman, it gives Austin Smith a lot better chance to get by. And that's exactly what happens here as Austin Smith gets by. Brandon Puffenbarger looks to do the same here as Ronnie Norman is slowly going backwards.
Yeah, right now Austin Smith is all over Kyle Cooper's back bumper as he is making... oh, we got a caution. 4 to go. The question is Iracing going to score Smith ahead of Cooper as the caution came out?
See what happened here. Oh, Aaron Marquise and Slauson. Oh, and Kroll.
Looks like Slauson KO'd Marquis there.
Kroll got sent too. Well, with that being said, we're definitely going to be a green-white checker. We'll step aside momentarily, let these guys make their pit stops, and we'll be back when they go back to green flag racing here. Be right back after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. While we were away, I would have said we had full sail pit stops, but we did not. Looks like Braxton Barrett, Joshua Neal, Brandon Sanfilippo all elected to stay out on the track. We have Ronnie Norman, the first car who made a pit stop there. It looks like he went fuel only, maybe right sides. Brennan Honeycutt as well. Andrew Teff, Lee Campbell, Marquis, and then looks like Austin Smith is the first driver with 4 tires in fuel. Brandon Puffenbarger, Daniel Honeycutt also did that as well. So with 3 laps to go, a green-white checker. You don't know what that is. We are going to drive around here. The drivers are going to take that green flag. When the leader makes it back to the white flag, hopefully, the next flag will end it. If a caution flag comes before that, we will restack him and let him go one more time.
All right, Mike. So when we come back to green, Braxton Barrett has had to have the start of his iRacing career because Austin Smith is going to be coming in a hurry, as he's going to be almost qualifying to get around the top 9 positions, or the top 8 guys.
Yeah, it always worries me when we have guys that have been out on the track for basically 20 laps as far as Braxton Barrett, Joshua Neal are concerned. And then you have guys that did probably fuel only, in Ronnie Norman. And then you have some fast guys got stuck back in the pack, like, Puffenbarger, Honeycutt, and Smith. We'll see what happens here as Braxton Barrett leads them down to the Geico restart zone. He is down and away, trying to get as far away from him as he can. Brandon Sanfilippo down on the inside. Joshua Neal holding up Ronnie Norman in that high lane as they come through turn 1.
All Braxton Barrett's got to do is make it through 1 lap. After that, everything else happens.
Yeah, we're turning sideways.
And there's the 5th caution. You called it.
Cautions breed cautions, as they're 3 wide up in front. Oh, Shane Backler.
It looks like...
Whoa. Lawson just disappeared and then reappeared.
It looks like Todd Slauson lagged out and then KO'd Sean Backler on the way out.
Ian Campbell. See if we can look here from.
Slauson said, "Thank you, sir. May have another."
On board here with the 20 machine. You can see him kind of break off in front of him. Nothing he could do about that one.
Looks like someone got into Todd Slauson. All right, so we're gonna re-rack them and restack them. Braxton Barrett got to duplicate that restart that he just did.
Yeah, he's got to do that, but he also has to do it with Ronnie Norman right behind him this time.
I mean, do you just... I mean, if you're Ronnie Norman, do you just pull to the inside and hope for the best, or do you wait till you get down to a corner where it's just you and him and then use the bumper and shove him out of the way?
I don't know.
Because I feel like Braxton Barrett, unless he gets out to the start that he had, he's going to hold up Ronnie Norman.
One guy who is got to be, I'll say, highly upset is the driver of the 72 Toyota. Like, he was on his way free and clear to a race win until that caution came out.
I agree with you on that one. If I'm in that driver's seat right now, I am cursing up a storm for making the dive to pit road. But what are you gonna do, though? I mean, at that point, if you don't take at least fuel, then you're in the same boat as everybody that's essentially in the top, 8 cars or top 9 cars. You're sitting duck.
I'm kind of surprised that that Austin Smith and Honeycutt and Puffenbarger weren't able to make ground pretty quickly. But I mean, we were only not even half a lap under that last caution there.
We're probably not even a quarter of a mile. But nonetheless,
it's gonna all come down to whether or not Braxton Barrett can hold off Ronnie Norman from what it looks like here as they are stacked back up. Norman behind Barrett.
I don't know. I think Norman gets a better restart than Barrett this time around.
Yeah, I think if I'm Ronnie Norman, I'm going to stay right on his bumper, get as close as I can. Almost bump draft him as they're coming to the restart zone.
And if you're Andrew Tuft, you're hoping that that you're praying to somebody that you're gonna be able to steal one from these guys.
Yeah, trying to do something, anything.
I believe we're through the tunnel turn right now, setting up to come through turn 3.
Pace car makes that left-hand turn. Braxton Barrett rolling him on down. And Norman just gets right into the back of him. Andrew Teft's going to go down to the inside of Norman after that huge check up there as they are 3-4 wide back behind him. Daniel Honeycutt trying to make the most of what he's got. He's up 4 positions now, still down on the low side, trying to keep that car underneath of him as they head down the backstretch. Marquise Teft goes to 3rd. And here comes Daniel Honeycutt, fresh tires and all. He is making some moves. He is up to 4th right now as they are sideways. And we are going to be under caution once again. Puffenbarger goes around right in front of Austin Smith. Looks like that is going to be a nightmare for anyone up in front of Daniel Honeycutt right now. He is a man on a mission.
He recovered 4th.
Well, you could see something was going to happen back here. As they're sliding through, Diego Rodriguez gets into the 80 of Matthew Jarrett. So that's the first incident there. Truth Hoax sideways trying to slam on the brakes and turn down with Gordon Spain there. Corey Kroll gets hit again as he gets into the back of Truth Hoax. Just a terrible day there. Gets the 3 involved there as well. Then let's see what happened here with Puffenbarger. Puffenbarger sliding up the track just a little bit, goes back down. Nothing too bad. Austin Smith slides down and turns Puffenbarger sideways. Sends him into San Filippo.
It's a tough break for Poffenbarger. I mean, he put together a good race tonight, and
I heard Kohlhaas gets in it too.
backs it into the inside fence there. Nonetheless, we're going to set up another green-white checkered. I think this is attempt number 2. Honeycutt, though, nonetheless, is on the outside of row number 2. He was in 11th position on the last restart as we restack him and re-rack him for the second attempt at a green-white checker. He was making up wholesale positions.
This is if I'm Daniel Honeycutt right now, I think I'm going to go head to the store and get a couple lottery tickets, because there is no way he should have been able to battle back to get up to P4. I was talking about how I thought if they just had a little bit more time, the guys with the 4 tires would be flying through the field, and no sooner did I say that, he's down on the bottom going 4 wide, just passing cars like they're standing still almost.
Yeah. I mean, Braxton Barrett's going to be on the outside. But does Ronnie Norman get the same restart as Braxton Barrett did 2 restarts ago?
I don't know. Braxton Barrett last came down pit lane on lap 44. Andrew Teft and Ronnie Norman both came down on lap 56, but they only spent under 10 seconds on pit lane. So Daniel Honeycutt definitely has the tire advantage, as it looks like he got all 4 tires.
If Daniel Honeycutt wins this race, he's going to look like a genius. But I think for Daniel Honeycutt, it's going to be either bring me the checker or bring me the steering wheel. Checkers or records time for Daniel Honeycutt.
Yeah, lights are out on the pace car. They get stacked back up. If I'm Daniel Honeycutt, I'm going as close as I can to the wall to get by the 28 there of Braxton Barrett. Or I'm hoping Andrew Teft misses a gear or something and I can slide down behind Ronnie Norman there. But we'll see what happens, as there'll be 3 and 4 wide coming through the start-finish line.
They were, on that last restart when we made it down to this long straightaway right here, these guys were absolutely 3 and 4 wide. And I was going to say, Mike, I mean, these guys, did someone tell them they're in Pocono and not Talladega? I mean, come on.
I don't know, this track has got to feel as wide as, I don't even know, compared to last week when they were at the Chicago street course.
But nonetheless, we're getting ready to come back to green.
Yeah, Ronnie Norman and Andrew Teft on the inside, Braxton Barrett and Daniel Honeycutt on the high side. Honeycutt, the driver with the fresh tires. Ronnie Norman with the speed to burn here as he gets the button and he is ready to roll. Wastes little time, gets maybe a quarter of the way through the restart zone, and he is down and away as they're going to start to fan wide here. Joshua Neal works his way down to the inside. Braxton Barrett goes to the inside of Norman there.
Braxton Barrett puts the block on Honeycutt, and here comes Honeycutt to the inside. Honeycutt's got help in the way of Andrew Taft.
Braxton Barrett into the wall.
Please stay green.
Austin Smith goes down to the inside, and they're staying off of each other. So far, so good. Ronnie Norman, get to that white flag, please.
Does Honeycutt have anything?
Oh, are they?
Oh.
That's final lap. That is it. The race is going to end under caution there. Ronnie Norman is going to get his third win, I do believe, as they used all of their green-white checkers.
That, Mike, was shaping up to be a great finish.
Well, while they're doing that, let's see what we can see back here for this fun time. Oh, go back further. It looked like they were able to get the white flag before anything came out. Marquis gets loose here. Looks like it's in front of him. But it all breaks loose. There we go. Back here. Gordon Spain. Oh, Kyle Cooper. Gordon Spain goes around and gets flipped. Let's see what's going on live as they get rolling around the track. Yep, and that is gonna do it here. Ronnie Norman is gonna win the race as it ends under caution.
And it's going to be Heartbreak Hotel for Daniel Honeycutt tonight.
And Ronnie Norman gonna roll in here and burn it down.
Literally. But nonetheless, Ronnie Norman, three-time winner from Terre Haute, Indiana, sporting the Budweiser colors tonight, and he's going to pick up his third race win of the season. And man, what a way to end the race tonight.
Yeah, let's see if we can get our third place driver up here. We got or not.
There we go. Andrew, this is Alan in the booth. How you doing? Or not?
That's
Alex. You
Alex.
got Alex. Wrong Taft.
Oh, there he is. He was hiding. There you go.
Okay. Andrew Taft, this is Alan in the booth. How you doing?
Hey, pretty good. How are you?
Third place tonight, and sporting. It looked like you're sporting some new colors there. But take us through that last lap. I mean, you're on old tires. What are you thinking as you got guys behind you on fresh tires and or fresher tires and fuel load?
Yeah, I had two. I wasn't sure what the other guys had, to be honest. It's hard to keep track when you're driving, but I hoped mine were a little bit better than theirs, but I wasn't sure. Um, yeah, maybe something would have happened on that last lap if we got to battling or something like that. Would have been cool if we could have raced back to the line, but yeah, that's racing.
Yeah, it's nice whenever they get to race the boss pretty hard. So does that boost your confidence going into tomorrow night's next gen race here at Pocono?
Yeah, I'm always pretty comfortable here. I don't know. It's kind of a fun track for me too because I've gone there a bunch of times as a fan, and it's always nice to be able to race at least in sim at some place you can go to in real life or have been to in real life. But yeah, congrats to Ronnie. Yeah, he played it really well there at the end. Had a great jump on that restart, and I picked up a couple each of those final restarts. So I was like, if I could just pick up a couple more, maybe I can get it. But yeah, I'm glad with the third. That was a really good rally.
Yeah, Andrew, is there anybody that you'd like to thank that helped you get you here tonight?
Yeah, you guys, as always, you always put on a great show. Everybody that tunes in to watch and shows up to race. Sarah Smiles, our #1 YouTube fan. My family for letting me play all the time, our servicemen and women. Happy New Year to everybody. Haven't been able to say that. Haven't been interviewed in a little while, so I got to step it up.
Well, Andrew, we're gonna go ahead and get you on out of here so that we can get ready for tomorrow night's next gen race, and we'll hopefully talk to you again tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, Andrew Tuff, your third place P3 finisher tonight.
So let's see if I can bring in. I'm gonna say, man, feeling a little heartbreak here. Daniel, mic up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I copy.
Well, heck of a race. You went from 11th to 4th after that one caution in about, I don't know, half a lap or so. Kind of wish you were able to race back to the finishes. You were making some ground there on Ronnie. How were you able to drive so well towards the end of the race? It looked like you took the 4 tires.
Yeah, I took 4 tires. I saw everybody that's behind me pitting on that late race caution with like 7 to go. So I just had to go in there and follow them down. I wasn't expecting like half the field to take 2 tires and then like 2 people to stay out, but they were able to stick up pretty good, and I was able to, like you said, in half a lap go from 11th to 4th. And then after that, it was just cat and mouse, just trying to catch Ronnie, and he drove a good race and he got out front and he got far enough away. And then if it would have stayed green, who knows what would have happened. But at the end of the day, he won. So congrats to him and another second place. So I guess I can't complain too much.
Yeah, definitely. That was a heck of a race. You found your way out front. You led a lot of the race and hung out there. You guys had definitely had some good racing back and forth. Only a few cautions for the first half of the race. But you get to put this one in your rear view mirror and focus your attention, I believe, on the trucks next. I don't believe you race on Thursday nights, but how are you feeling headed into Pocono in the trucks on Tuesday?
Well, after this race, I feel pretty good. After we did at Phoenix and I ran pretty well up front a bunch, I felt pretty good. So I'm feeling pretty confident about the trucks. And then what's after this for the Xfinity? The Richmond?
Sounds right.
Yeah. And then Richmond, I won last year. So I'm hoping to repeat there, and maybe best racing comes right here late in the regular season. Maybe I can point my way into the playoffs, get a couple wins.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing what happens with these last few races here. Congrats on your P2 finish. Anybody want to thank before we get you out of here tonight?
Just y'all as always putting on a great show, and for the league for hosting everything, and yeah, just the same people as pretty usual. So I just want to thank y'all. So I appreciate it.
Definitely, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you.
Well, Alan, I'll let you talk to the race winner here.
Ronnie, this is Alan in the booth. How you doing?
Doing pretty good after the end of that one. I was a little scared.
Yeah. Three-time winner this season with Racers Elite. Man, I don't know what you found in that race car to hold off Daniel Honeycutt, but did you think he had anything for you there at the end?
I honestly said over the radio, I wish it would have went green to the checkered flag just to see what it would have came down to. Honestly, just think it's this paint scheme. Every time I'm in this number 8 Budweiser car, it's usually pretty bad fast. So last 2 weeks I've ran the black one, and we ain't been finishing in victory lane. So maybe that's the key to this. Just stay in the red car, and maybe we can just keep logging off wins every week.
Yeah, for sure. And I mentioned that in the broadcast tonight that, you're paying homage to Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that scheme, and he did win here with that Budweiser car in that number 8. So I think you might want to run that scheme all the rest of the season. So what's your mindset going into tomorrow night with the next gen cars?
Yeah, like I said, I don't race on the next gen. Unfortunately, I race in I try to keep my Thursdays and Fridays off, so that way I'm not constantly racing every week. But no, just it was a fun race. I mean, the front pack battle was so intense tonight. I'm sure it was fun to watch with everybody up there with me, Daniel, and John, and I think it was Kyle was up there too. It was just, I mean, we were just all nose to tail for most of the race, and it was just I ran a little bit too hard in that first stage, and I think Daniel was starting to run me down there toward the end of it before that caution came out. So I was trying to test the waters to see how hard I could run. And then in that second stint, we kind of backed her down, tried to say some stuff. I think it helped out a little bit. And then Austin finally made his way to the front, made it a little bit more interesting, and we had to watch out for him because I think he qualified a little bad today, so I had to wait for him to get up to the front. But yeah, no, I mean, in general, it was I honestly didn't know if I was going to be able to pull this one out or not. And then we had that caution come out, and I'm like, I feel like 2 tires will do it here. So we went in and took 2, and there's a lot of people that took 2 tires, which I think really helped me out with Austin and them taking 4 and putting them back in the pack a little bit. So they're on that restart on them green, white checkers. I knew I had to throw it 3 wide in there to get the lead. So that way I had the help on the restarts if there was another restart. And it's one of those, you hate doing it, but you have to, just because everything's, who's coming up behind you. And when I seen Daniel was in 4th, and I knew he was on 4 fresh tires, and I was like, this is about to get really interesting. And so I tried to get the biggest jump as I could there on that last restart, and I feel like I did all I could. And I mean, fortunately the yellow came out, so I didn't have to worry about it. But like I said, I definitely would have liked to see the checker come out just to see how close it would have been. But overall, it was a good race for this number 8 team. And like I said, just happy to win number 3 and put some more points on the table for us in the standings. And we got 2 more races here before the playoffs, so we're getting down to it.
All right, Ronnie, is there anybody that you would like to thank to help get you here tonight?
Yeah, I just want to shout out Budweiser, FanDuel, Wrangler, Mountain Dew. I think Bass Bro Shops is on the car as well for being on the car every week. I want to thank Snyder Graphics for making my paint schemes. Thanks to you guys for broadcasting these races every week. I know you guys do a whole bunch of them, so props to you guys for doing this week in and week out. Thanks to the league owners for putting this on every week. It's a fun league. A lot of talent in here, a lot of good racing. And just shout out to everybody that tuned in to watch the race. Looking forward to go back and watch this one. And shout out to Daniel on 2nd and Andrew on 3rd. Looked like he got everybody up here with the podium. So just shout out to everybody for a fun night. And we'll be back here next Wednesday at Richmond. We're going to go short track racing.
All right, Ronnie, go ahead and go back to Indiana and start drinking some Budweiser and enjoy the weekend, buddy.
I can't drink anything tonight. I got to be working 2 a.m., so we'll wait until tomorrow evening.
There you go. Ladies and
All right.
gentlemen, your winner tonight, Ronnie Norman on the Racers Elite. I just moved him.
Let's go down here and take a look at the race results. Ronnie Norman with the victory. Daniel Honeycutt second. Andrew Teff third. Austin Smith, Joshua Neal, Brandon Honeycutt, Kinsley Smith, Lee Campbell, Diego Rodriguez, and Truth Hoke round out that top 10. Then we go back to John Shane Backler. Dwayne McMahon comes up in P12. Ira Kohas, Kyle Cooper, Michael Brooks round out the top 15. Ian Campbell, Jarrett Larder, Alex Teft. Then we got Gordon Spain, Braxton Barrett, Aaron Marquis, Brandon Sanfilippo in P22, Todd Slauson 23rd, Brian Coker, Matthew Jarrett inside the top 25, Corey Kroll, Brandon Puffenbarger, Dennis Kane. Let me go back to George Sprinkle is the last driver who took part in the race. Jeremy Carter did not start. So with that being said, anything you want to say before we get out of here, Alan?
I tell you what, Mike, this race lived up to its expectations and much, much more. And I cannot wait to see the next gens tomorrow night. I am going to enjoy my weekend, and I'm gonna do some fun things this weekend. I got some good things coming up, so I think me and you have the night off tomorrow.
Yep, got a little bit of a night off there. We're gonna be back at it. Well, SRM's gonna be back at it, broadcasting the Next Gen Series here at Pocono tomorrow night, and then they'll be jumping back into ISNF on Saturday with a full race Daytona 500. So tune into that if you have nothing else going on with your Saturday. But
I get to do that.
Yeah, but from all of us here at Sim Racing Media and all the drivers of the Racers Elite Xfinity Series, I want to wish you guys good night, and we'll see you next time.